Hello, 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 everyone. Teachers, students, thank you guys so much for being here. We have a fun hour ahead of us where we are going to be making some beats and doing some coding. It is sure to be a super fun time. But before we get to any of that, as you all know, we like to start all of our lessons off just thinking about recognizing the land that we are on, even especially Friday being the day of truth and reconciliation. Hopefully you've spent some time considering those Indigenous people that were here before us. What you see on the screen as well, a beautiful map. This is a new map. So if you've joined lessons with us before, this is a new resource. It's whose.land is going to get you to this awesome website by some friends of ours that you're going to meet later in this program, but tells you all about the lands that are around you. Me, I'm in Calgary, Treaty 7, nations like the Blackfoot, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda, the Métis, so many rich cultures around us, and hopefully you'll take a moment to consider those around you. All right. Quick introductions and housekeeping, and then we're going to get to the star of the show who you see below me. But I am Michelle Armstrong. Like I mentioned, I'm in Calgary, one of the co-founders of the Cobblestone Collective, and super excited that we get to work alongside people like Richard and Google and teachers and students like you. So, teachers, at any point, if you find this going too fast, by all means, go ahead and just pause us. We'll be here when you get back. And then this recording will continue to be here if you want to watch it over and over and over. But students, we want to hear from you. We have this magic forum where you can communicate with us. And so far, we have a couple people already have found this forum, but students, go ahead into a new tab on that device in front of you. Type in the cc.page/answers. Let us know, what's your favorite music artist or band? Let's start with that. And one last thing before we get to the final introductions. Whoops, I must have left the slide below. But I do want to say a super thank you to Google Canada, specifically Sandy Curry, who is helping to fund this lesson. And now we get to the star of the show. Richard Ashe is here from breakbeatcode. Hello, Richard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And so tell us just a little bit about you. And while you're doing that, I'm going to check over in that form and see what students are here. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. My name is Richard Ashe. I created something called breakbeatcode at Google, where we teach students to code using beat making and music production. So we've been teaching this all around the world. And not too long ago, we joined Cobblestone Collective to teach this in Canada. So this is our second time doing this. And everything we do is free. You can go to teach.breakbeatcode.com to see the curriculum. And you can go to breakbeatcode.com and contact us directly to bring it to your community.
Yes, so great. And guess what, Richard? We have a lot of students here with us. Antonio is here, who likes Juice WRLD. Vanny likes Billie Eilish. We've got Pranay is here. Charlie is here. Mason is here. We've got lots of Juice WRLD fans. We got Kanye West fans. That's Mason. We have Grace is here, and Caitlin and Marcus. Oh my goodness, we have Mr. Jones's class. They vote for Billie Eilish. Who's your favorite band or artist, Richard?
That is really, really tough one. Depends on the genre. I would say in the hip hop genre, Run the Jewels is probably my favorite right now. But I have many favorites.
Love that. I bet you there's some students out there who like that as well. Well, Richard, you know what? I'm going to turn this over to you. I believe you've got some slides that we can start to project for you. Students, Richard is going to walk us through coding and making music. So get ready. Take it away, Richard.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is learn to code using beat making and music production. This is something called breakbeat code. So the coding concepts the students will learn today include variables, functions, comments, syntax. You also learn how to break and fix code along the way. As if we have enough time, we'll show you how to break stuff as well. So, as Michelle said, we want to hear from you. So go to the thecc.page/answers. The first thing we want you to do is to come up with a stage name. So what's a stage name? Well, Beyonce Knowles, her stage name is simply her first name, Beyonce. You have Donald Glover, whose stage name is Childish Gambino. It's just a completely made up name. And then Chance the Rapper, their stage name is Chancellor. His real name is Chancellor, his stage name is Chance the Rapper. So what we want to do is go to thecc.page/answers and come up with your stage name. While you're doing that, I'm going to go into something called Ear Sketch.
We do have stage names coming in. We got, well, I think these are stage names. Maybe they're real musicians, but Lil H. We got Lil H. We got Cool Frog. We got, let's see, Central C. The AZ Machine. Zuzu. These are great students. I love this. And they're so engaged in that form. Awesome. Love it. Keep those stage names coming in.
Awesome. There's some really good names there. So now we're going to do a quick tour of something called Ear Sketch. We're going to learn how to use it. Ear Sketch is a free educational programming environment. Its core purpose is to teach coding through music composing and remixing. And this learning environment was developed first and is supported by Georgia Tech School of Music Technology. So we're going to do a quick tour of Ear Sketch. We're going to show you the different elements of Ear Sketch with a brief demo of how it works and where to go for more information. So first, in your web browser, go to earsketch.gatech.edu. I'm going to pause here to give you a chance to go to Ear Sketch. That's earsketch.gatech.edu. Okay.
Awesome. And students, if you are having any troubles at all, if the links don't work, just let us know in that form and we'll make sure to help you out as best we can. So hopefully, if you want to also let us know in the form when you get Ear Sketch loaded, then we know we're all on the right track.
Okay, great. So when you get to Ear Sketch, click on the Start Coding button at the top of the screen on the right-hand side. It says Start Coding. When we go in here, we're going to see a white box with black letters that says, Welcome to Ear Sketch. At the bottom of the box, we see a button that says Start. You can click the Start button.
Okay, so students, now you're seeing this might be going a little bit fast, but hopefully Ear Sketch is pretty intuitive. So you've gone in there, you're starting coding, and your screen should look like what Richard's got up there right now.
Yeah. All right. So all we're doing is just walking you through what this looks like. So you don't need to really do anything. You can just watch the screen. Just make sure you get to Ear Sketch. So you'll see this, understand this as we go along. But this first section, it's called the code editor. And this is your workspace to compose music by coding in Python. Python is the language that we're using. It's the programming language. It is one of the most popular programming languages in the world. And it's a key skill for many job opportunities in tech, including things like data science and data analysis and machine learning. So in this code editor, we're going to write some Python code. And you'll see these numbered lines in what looks like a text editor. Okay, then we click Next.
Perfect. Hey, Richard, I just am going to jump in really quickly. We do have a number of people that it's all good, but we have a few students out there that the link is not working for them. Students, it is potentially possible that this link is somehow blocked in your school or your district. Hopefully, we can get this unblocked. It's an amazing program where you don't even need to log in at all. But if it's not working, that might be it. And if so, maybe you can give it a try at home later, but you can watch Richard and then you'll know how to do it later when you get home.
Okay. So once you've written some code, you'll then need to run your code and see it turned into music. Again, you don't need to do anything. This is just a demo of your sketch. We click the run button, and then we'll view the code in something called the digital audio workstation, located above the code editor. So I'm going to click next here to running the code. And after you hit the run button, you can preview your music in something called the digital audio workstation, or DAW. So a digital audio workstation, it's just what any music producer would use to remix music tracks, to compose music. The DAW is a timeline visualization of your code showing time both in seconds and measures. We'll explain what that means later. Below the timeline, the audio clips, the different sounds added to your song, they're placed on different tracks. And later we'll describe what all these things mean, just getting you some familiarity with what it looks like. And then to play it, we just click the play button. On the left-hand side, you'll see this browser area, or the content manager area. Click on the toggle switch at the top to open and close it. And so there are several types of browsers, and we're going to explore the different functions in the next step. So the first browser is Sounds. Scroll and click the folders to discover over 4,000 audio clips to use in your music composed by popular recording artists. And when you write code, it's automatically saved in the script section. So you could search for scripts by date or programming language or owner. Click Next. On the right-hand side is something called the curriculum panel. We can use that toggle switch button at the top to switch the view of the curriculum, and we can navigate through the content through that search bar. We often say with breakbeat code to try it, Google it, or ask a friend. So in other words, if you're trying to work something out, you try it first, Google it. In this case, it's not really Googling it, but you can search for it in the curriculum panel here. And then our last one is ask a friend, like ask someone next to you or ask a coach. All right, so we've just shown you your sketch, and we're going to show you the different browsers for sounds and scripts, and basically how to navigate the Your Sketch curriculum. All right, so now we're going to learn how to choose sounds in Your Sketch. So in this section, we'll learn how to look for sounds in the sound browser, filter sounds by artist, genre, or instrument, and then play some sounds that we like. So going back to that content manager button that we saw at the top left, we'll click on the tab that says Sounds. So here you can see at the top, we have the names of sound files in this sound collection below. And at the top, you see these filters that will allow you to search by artist, genre, and instruments. We'll show you what this means. So first I click on the artist filter, and then I'll just see sounds from artists from like Ciara, Common, Pharrell, and others. I can click on the genre filter, and then I'll see different musical genres, which are just different types or categories of music. So you'll see here everything from hip hop to techno to rock, gospel, world percussion, all sorts of different types of music. And then you can click on the instruments filter to select sounds by the type of instrument used to make the sound, like piano, flute. So let's go back. We're going to click on the artist filter again. And then we click on the artist name to see only their sounds. In this example, we will select Common to see only the sounds from his songs. Once you've selected their name, you should see a check mark next to the name. All right, so now I can only see Common songs. It's been filtered out. And there are groups of sound files from Common songs here. And these are the sound files, all those different rows with the little green play button next to them. Those are all different sound files. So in other words, the artist, Common, took their sounds and gave them to Ear Sketch into these different sections, and you're going to be able to use that to create your own music tracks, to remix their different sounds.
That's so cool. I think that's one of the things that blew me away, is seeing all of those sound files, and that all of these artists are just letting their music be in here for free. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And so you're going to be able to take these popular songs, and you're going to take the different chunks of it, the different sounds, whether it's piano, the keyboards, whatever it is, the vocals, and you'll be able to remix it. We're going to show you some basic examples of how to do that. Okay, so we can click that green play icon next to the name of each sound, and if you click on it, that'll give you the sample that will allow you to hear that sound. So I'll show you what that looks like. So you can see I'm just clicking the different buttons.
I imagine the students are clicking that play button. Teachers, we've got headphones for those students. But if not, hopefully there's awesome music happening in your classes already.
Yeah. Okay. So we previewed some sounds, and now we're going to just show you briefly how I'm going to create variables for different sounds in EarSketch. So I'm going to create variables and assign sound files to them. At this point, we assume you have no experience in music, no experience in coding. We're going to take you from the very basics. So now we're going to answer some questions. First, how do I create variables for sounds in EarSketch? And then how do I copy and paste these sound file names into EarSketch? But I'm sure first you're asking, what's a variable? So remember, a variable is like a name tag. A variable is like a name tag, or a short name for any value in Python. All right? The easiest way to do this is show you an example. Okay. I'll show you an example of how to create your own variables and assign sound files to them. So you can use your own variable names and sounds. I'm just going to show you some examples. You don't need to do anything right now. Okay, I'm just going to show you how it would be done. You don't need to type or follow along necessarily. These are just examples. So I'm going to type the following in the code editor. Beat1 equals. So I've created a variable name called beat1. The equal sign means I'm going to assign a value to it. So I'm going to tell EarSketch, what does beat1 mean? I'm going to define the variable. So then you click on this blue copy paste button next to the sound file name. So if you look real closely, you see the sound file name, you'll see the play button, and then next to the star, you'll see this blue copy paste button. Okay, I click on that. That'll automatically paste that sound file name next to the equal sign in this case. So I've created my first variable. It's called beat1, and I've assigned the sound file common love drum beat1 to it. It's that simple. Why would I even want to use a variable? Well, there's a variety of different ways. We're going to show you how variables are used and updated. But part of it makes it more readable. Look at this long name, common love drum beat1. It's a pretty long name, right? This is just giving you a short name. So it makes it more readable. And I'll show you what that looks like. We're also going to update variables as well. So I'm sure at this point you're pretty anxious and excited to start to create some music. So I'm going to show you some examples of how to create music with a fit media function in EarSketch. So in this lesson, we're going to learn about the fit media function in EarSketch. We're going to answer some questions, such as what is the fit media function? What are its parameters? What does it do? And how to use it in EarSketch. Again, I don't expect you to know any of this yet. We're starting from scratch. All right. So now we have noticed previously that some people may have different challenges accessing these different links. So I'm going to give you this short link. Hopefully you can access that. It's breakbeatcode.de breakbeatcode.de/fitmedia. breakbeatcode.de/fitmedia.
And maybe students, why don't you go ahead? So type that link in and let us know in the form, did this link work for you? As Richard mentioned, sometimes they don't work. Hopefully we won't have to type in the big long link, but let's see. So students, just let us know in the form. Josh is here. Thomas says it works. Chloe says it works. Uh-oh, Kelvin says no. Try one more time, Kelvin. We do see it does show that most students are able to access the link. So that's great. You know what students, what we'll do, if the code works, fabulous. If not, I'm going to get real sneaky. I'm going to put that extra long link. I'm going to put that on the form. So if you refresh your form in about 7 seconds, you'll have that link. So Richard, go ahead while I get that link on the form for the students.
Okay, thanks. All right, so first let's start off with defining a function. What is a function in programming? A function, simply put, is reusable code that receives input and takes an action. So a function is reusable code that receives some sort of input and takes an action. We're going to show you an example of a function in Python. It's actually a special function that was created just for ear sketch. So it's something we call the fit media function. So a programmer has written this code that then you can use to play sounds in ear sketch in a repeated loop. That's what it does. So the fit media function will take an audio file, one of those sound files. It'll place it on a track that you specify and at specific start and end times. So you're going to tell it what sound you want to put on the track, which track to put it on, where you want it to start, and where you want it to end. We'll show you how to do it. That audio file, it'll be repeated or cut short as needed to fit the specified amount of time. Okay, so here's the syntax of fit media. And again, this will probably look weird to you if you have no programming experience. We're going to walk through these examples, and as you start to play around with the code, it'll just start to make sense. But trust me, it took me a while to figure out coding, and you're just going to learn by doing and trial and error. You'll definitely have a lot of fun because immediately you're going to start creating some music. So remember, this fit media function is a capital M for media. You'll see this in your sample code as well. It has these parameters, these things you put into it. One way to think about parameters and functions is that, if I'm calling the pizza restaurant, that's like a function or something we call an algorithm. If I call a pizza restaurant, I've got to tell them a certain number of different things. I have to tell them 4 things: my name, my phone number, the size of pizza, and the toppings. So those are the required parameters. Those are the things I need to tell them. If I just call them and say, my name's Richard, large pizza, they're like, okay, Richard, I actually need your name and your phone number and the size of pizza and the toppings in that order. Same thing with functions here. It has certain parameters, certain things it expects, certain input. First is clip. That's the sound file that you choose. Track, the track number to insert the audio file onto. That's a type of number called an integer, so it's just 1, 2, or 5. Start, that's where the sound file will begin. The type of number is a float, or a floating point number. In other words, it's got a decimal point, such as 2.0 or 3.5. And then end, that's where the sound file will end. This is also a float. So again, it's fit media, and in parentheses, clip, comma, track, comma, start, comma, end, close parentheses. All right, so the easiest way to figure this out, to understand it, is just by walking through some code. So we're going to start walking through this code, starting from top and working our way down. And that's the same way Python will read your code. Python reads your code like you read a book, starting from the top and working on the way down, and going from left to right. So first, B1 equals common love drum beat 1. So we create a variable called beat 1, and we assigned a sound file to it, common love drum beat 1 to beat 1. So from now on, whenever I refer to beat 1, ear sketch will know that I'm referring to common love drum beat 1. It's a nickname, it's a name tag. So then we create a variable called track and assign the value of 1 to it. A variable called start and assign the value of 1 to it. And on the next line, we create a variable called end and assign the value of 20 to it. And now we call the fit media function just like we tried to call for that pizza. So it expects 4 values. First is clip. That's the audio file to place on the track. In this case, we put the word beat 1, that variable name. And so it'll play common love drum beat 1 because that's the sound assigned to the beat 1 variable. Then we have track. That's the track number where we will place the audio file. In this example, the sound will be placed on track 1. Start, that's the start measure for the audio playback. The start measure for this sound is measure 1. A measure is a unit of time in music, and we'll explain more about measures in the next lesson. And then end, that's the end measure for the audio playback. The end measure is set to 20. So you can click the run button, execute the code. You can actually do this in your sample, and we'll see what Fit Media does with this input.
And just before you do that, Richard, just a couple things.
Mhm.
So I'm just noticing in mine, the beat 1 was Khaled, I think. And then I wanted to go in and change it, but then that little button, the import to edit.
Got it. Thank you for
Right?
calling that out. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. So let me just show you what that looks like real quick. So I'm going to just open up Ear Sketch in sort of an incognito window as if I'm doing this for the first time.
You may have to reshare your screen there,
Yeah,
Richard.
so that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
All right.
So let's go ahead and first I'm going to go and jump back and get that example. Okay. I'll show you what this looks like. 2 seconds.
And then students, I imagine you are all exploring those sounds. What Richard's going to show you, just in case you missed it, you're going to notice that there's just a tiny little white button over on the right-hand side underneath Run that if you want to make any changes at all, you need to go import to edit, and then you'll be able to make some changes. Richard, did you get your other screen?
Yeah, I'm going to get that up in 2 seconds. And then
all right.
There we go. Thanks for calling that out.
No, and I think Richard, while you're in there, you're going to show us how we can change the beat.
Exactly. So
fabulous. This is where it gets fun, students. And then some of you may have already figured this out, but for those that do need that just a little extra bit, I love that you're going nice and slow here, Richard. So here we are.
Yeah. So here we are in Ear Sketch. As Michelle mentioned, see that button right there? It's under the Run button, and it says Import to Edit. So click on that Import to Edit. So that basically means you're going to create a copy that you can then update. So I've clicked that button, and now let's see. I want to replace this one. If I run it, it's going to have this this drum beat from Khaled. Right. So I want to update that. Go over here. I'm going to delete that. And Michelle, you could hear that sound when I played it, right?
Yep, you bet. We sure could.
Awesome. So let's go here on a different beat. What we got going on? There we go. Got some. I'm going to get this drum beat right here. Pop that in.
And that's just so slick. So students, I don't know if you noticed that. So all Richard did was click that copy paste button and boom, it just shows up in your code.
Ooh, let me show you. I just broke something. So let me show you how I did that. I hit paste twice, basically. And so it pasted it back to back. So I messed that up. So you're just supposed to delete this. And let's see, I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to pop in this little percussion shaker. So I just hit that blue button. And that automatically pastes it. So again, I deleted this. So it just said beat 1 equals. And then I just hit a blue button next to the sound I wanted. It's going to sound like this. Okay, and now I'm just going to hit run, and I'm going to hear that played back to back up here.
That's so cool.
There we go. That's it. So thanks for calling that out, and then we'll hit, I'm going to stop sharing this. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to presentations with sharing. So hopefully you'll have started to play around with the code. Hopefully you've started to explore how you can start to make your own music tracks. And keep on going while I get my presentation back. Okay, and here we go. So some of you by now, you can see our sound file there. Okay.
I don't see your screen yet.
Thank you.
Oh, you're on it? Perfect.
Okay, just a sec. Okay. There we go.
And let us know in the forum, students, how you guys are doing. Are you playing music? How many of you are hacking the code already and doing different things with the code? I know that's what I did the first time I saw this. It's like, what? Can I add more variables? And lo and behold, I got some of my things to work.
Awesome. So let's go again. Let's see if I can get this up.
Nice.
There you go. All right. I think.
Oh yes, we got students creating a lot of great music. Walter says this is fun. Manraj is just going through all the sounds. Like, yeah, you could probably spend hours and hours just listening to the sounds. So cool. All right, we got your screen back up here.
Awesome. So what we've got going on, I'm just going to break it down again. We click the run button. We see our sound file up there. That's our sound file. That's those colored blocks at the top of your sketch. In this case, I can see the sound file name, Common Love Drum Beat 1. It's on track 1. Tracks are just simply a way to organize the sound so you can play them at different times or with different effects. It's starting at measure 1. We'll describe what measures are in a minute. That just simply means when I hit play. If it's starting at measure 1, that plays as soon as I hit the play button at the very start of the song. And it ends on measure 20. We'll describe what that means, but it's just going to play from 1 to 20 in this case. So that fit media function, what it does, it plays that sound again and again on a loop for 20 measures. In this particular example, the sound, if I played it once, would only play for 1 measure. So this is just playing in a loop, back to back, just like a DJ. Click the play button, that's how I hear my sound. And we just showed you the example a minute ago. So I'm going to skip ahead. I've shown you how to update this. So all you do is you delete that sound. In this case, it was Common Love Drum Beat 1. We're going to update that Beat 1 variable with any sound that you choose. So go into the Sounds tab again. I click right here next to Beat 1 equals. I've already deleted the sound, and now I just have a blank space. So just click there because that's where we're going to drop in our new sound. And then again, I click the Paste to Editor button, that blue button, next to the sound you want in your track. So you're doing a remix. Click that button, and then it'll magically appear. Your sound is now assigned to the Beat 1 variable. And then that fit media function, that's going to play your sound. So now it's going to play your sound assigned to Beat 1 on track 1, starting at measure 1. In this case, I updated it to be measure 10 as the end measure. Click the run button, and then there's your sound. So that's what you should be doing on your side. Then you can click play to hear your sound. Okay. So as a recap, what we learned about the fit media function, we learned about what it does in your sketch, the syntax and parameters, and how to use it. So I'll pause here. I'm going to ask a couple of questions to check in. The first question is, what's a variable? What is a variable?
So students, in that form, I know you guys know where that form is because we got lots of you communicating with us. So many of these students. So Hanukkah is here, Charlie is here, Adam is messing around like crazy, Grace is here, it's amazing. So students, now, have you been listening? What is a variable? So answers will be coming in just a second. And like, I think I'm even a little bit stumped. So a variable, is it kind of like a placeholder, sort of?
You can think of it like a placeholder, or the easiest thing to think about, it's just a name tag. It's just
Oh,
a
yeah,
short name. It's just
right.
a
You
short
told us
name.
that.
Yeah, it's just a short name for any kind of value. So
Ooh.
we'll show you how to use it.
Yep. And I like, so Thomas says it's an unknown. And then someone says a variable is a placeholder. They didn't put their name down. No So says placeholder. Oh yeah, these guys were listening way better than I was.
Yeah, in different contexts, and different, like in other parts of science, a variable could be an unknown. In the case of coding, it is like a name tag. It is a way to give a short name to a different value, and it's something that you can update. So we'll show you a little bit more of that. But before we do that, now we're going to teach you some music concepts. Okay, so we've taught you some coding concepts, and now we're going to teach you some music concepts. Okay, so we're going to show you beats and measures. We've already talked about placing a sound on a music track at a specific start and end measure, but we didn't really tell you what measures are. So we're going to break that down. So we're going to learn about the definitions of beats and measures, and then how to count beats and measures in EarSketch. And this will be important as you try to better understand how to change your music. Okay, so we're going to start by defining a beat. A beat is the basic unit of time in music. So when we hit the play button in EarSketch, you can count the beats out loud as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So each vertical gray line in the EarSketch DAW, that represents one beat. So each vertical gray line is one beat. And then a measure is a single unit of time featuring a specific number of beats played at something called a tempo. It's just really the speed of the music. In EarSketch, there are 4 beats per measure. So check this out. In EarSketch, you see that numbered grade line, those numbered grade lines. Those numbered grade lines, those are measures, okay? Each one is one measure. That's the first measure. In EarSketch, this is the second measure, the third measure, the fourth measure, and so on. So if you've been to music class before, this will sound familiar to you. We're just going to count beats and measures. So those numbered lines, you can see on the left-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the different measures. And then you'll see the little ellipses, the 3 dots, then 2, 3, 4. That's me counting out beats. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So if we look at this in EarSketch, it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. So let's practice counting beats and measures in EarSketch. We'll use the metronome feature in EarSketch, and the metronome counts the beats and measures in the track. It'll make a click for each beat, and then it'll make a higher pitch click for each measure. So you can click that metronome icon to turn it on and off. Okay, and you click the mute icon to turn the sound off the track. That mute icon should be red if it's on and gray if it's off. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And I'll go ahead and switch to EarSketch.
This is so great. I wonder how many students are actually in music class right now. Who knew you could be doing music and coding at the same time? So it's really, really cool. Love it. We have a student that is furiously wanting us to find out why their sound is not importing. So Jaron, we hear you. I'm not sure what issues you might be running into.
Is it the code is not importing or the sound? Are you trying to add a sound?
My sound is not importing. So
okay, maybe are you trying to add a sound?
Yeah, not sure.
Yeah. So,
when you jump into EarSketch again, maybe you can just go over how we put the sounds in.
Yeah. So I'll just show you. First, I'll show you just the normal way to add a sound in EarSketch. I'm just going to make a copy so I don't mess up my code here. So I'm going to go in here. I will sample copy. So again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swap out this sound. All right. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to choose any of these sounds. Let me just do this one. I'm going to go in here. and delete that sound. I'm going to click on this blue button. So now I got a new sound assigned to the beat1 variable. Maybe you didn't hit the run button. So you got to hit the run button. That's one way you might not be hearing your sound. One reason, I should say. And then you're going to hit the play button to listen to it. Okay, now I'm going to show you beats and measures real quick while we're here. So I'm going to click this little metronome button, the little button right there. I'm going to hit play. Those clicks, those are beats. You see the numbered line? Those are the measures. You kind of hear a higher pitch click when you do that. So again, I just click this little metronome button and the mute button. And the reason that's important is because you're going to want to sort of time your music up. You want to figure out when you want things to start and stop. So it's good to understand beats and measures. And then you can hear the metronome now with the actual sound. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to move on, but feel free to keep the questions coming. I'm guessing you may have tried to add your own sound. Oops, my lights went off. Okay, so you may have tried to add your own sound. We're not going to cover how to add your own sound during this session. We're going to have to move on, but feel free to post it in the chat. We can give you answers afterwards as we go along. Hopefully we'll have time at the end. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing my slides.
And the cool thing, students, just so you know, your teachers are going to receive an email after this with probably hundreds of tutorial videos, Richard.
Yes.
They're going to be able to continue to teach you how to do this. There's just so much information in breakbeat code.
Yeah.
Coming your teacher's way.
Yeah, and we're pretty soon for your teachers, we're going to, right now you can access teach.breakbeatcode.com. You'll see all the slides and videos. We're coming up with a new version of this, which is basically going to be self-paced learning to make it a lot easier to access. Okay, so you should now see using Fit Media multiple tracks. Okay, now we're going to really get into it. Now we're going to start to really use Fit Media to play sounds on multiple different tracks. We're going to really start doing some remixes. So also you're going to learn how to change the value of a variable, which you just did, but we're going to see the power of that. And by doing so, we're really going to learn how memory works in Python, how the computer is saving these different values. And then we're going to show you Python reads each line of code from top to bottom, and it's checking the current value of each variable. So we're going to go into this short URL. There's a long one that we'll post in the chat. So Michelle, if you can help me with that. So it's breakbeatco.de/fitmedia_2.
And I quickly updated your form. So if you refresh that Google form, you're going to see both of those links are up there on the top as well for you, just in case that short link doesn't work. But this gets into putting two tracks together. This is, I think, pretty fascinating stuff, fun stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so got about 6 minutes left. And this time you're going to learn how all these different things at once. It's pretty cool. And remember, this is going to be recorded, or it is recorded, so you'll be able to watch this later. And so we're going to show you how the Python interpreter is going to read and execute each line of code one by one from top to bottom. So we'll keep track of the value of each variable in this table. This table's very similar to the way the computer will store the values of each variable in memory. So as we change the values assigned to each variable, the computer's memory will be updated. So it starts off here. The Python interpreter reads the next line of code, which says beat1 equals common love drum beat 1. So it takes that and interprets that, and it says, okay, now I'm going to store that information in memory like this. It creates a variable name in memory called beat1, and it stores the value for beat1. So it knows now, whenever it sees beat1, it remembers that it's referring to the sound file called common love drum beat 1. That's what a variable does. It simply saves the value, in this case, the sound file name, and points it, or has this variable name called beat1 pointing to it. So you can think of, just like you have a name tag when you go to an event, it might say, in my case, Richard or breakbeatcode as my DJ name. It could say Googler. These are all just name tags you could put on me. Similar here, it's just a name tag pointing to, in this case, the sound file. So it goes to the next line of code. Theme1 equals, in this case, it says common love theme piano 3. So it goes and stores that in memory. And so it remembers now whenever it sees theme1, it knows it's referring to this sound file name, common love theme piano 3. It goes to the next line. It says track equals 1. It creates a variable called track in memory, and it assigns the value of 1 to it. Okay, you see that table on the right-hand side? It's just keeping, it's showing you what memory would look like, what the computer memory would look like. Then it goes to the next line, start equals 1, so it does the same thing. Just follows the instructions, and then it creates, in the computer's memory, a variable called start, and assigns the value of 1 to it. On the next line, it sees end equals 20. So again, it goes to the computer's memory, and it says, okay, I need to create a variable called end and assign the value of 20 to it. It keeps going, reading the instructions from top to bottom. Now it's reading the instructions for fit media. Fit media, in parentheses, beat1, comma, track, comma, start, comma, end, close parentheses. So it's following the instructions. It checks its memory to find the current value of beat1, track, start, and end. And it uses those values, or the values of those variables, when it executes the code. If we translated this code in spoken English, it would go like this. Okay, ear sketch, play common love drum beat 1, on track 1, starting at measure 1, and ending at measure 20. Now it's going to keep going. It keeps reading from top to bottom. On the next line, it says track equals 2. It follows the instructions and changes the value of track from 1 to 2. It goes to the next line. See, it's updating these variables. So start equals 5. Before start was equal to 1. Now it's updated to 5. Then we call the fit media function again, but the variables have changed. So it's going to do something different. And this time we're using theme1 instead of beat1. So it looks like this. Fit media, in parentheses, theme1, comma, track, comma, start, comma, end. And it interprets these instructions like this. Play, comma, love, theme, piano 3, on track 2, starting in measure 5, ending in measure 20. Because it has looked in the memory, and it could sees the different values for theme 1, track, start, and end. So theme 1 equals common love, theme, piano 3. The current value of track is 2. Start equals 5. End equals, wait, what's the value of end? The value of end is unchanged because we did not update the value, so it still equals 20. So the sounds will end at the same time. Sorry, did you want to jump in there?
No, not at all. I just think this is fascinating. You know, Python used to be kind of scary to me because it's like, this makes no sense, but it's so great how you just sort of spelled it out. It's like, oh, wait, it's not that hard after all.
There you go. And now we can see the 2 tracks with the colored blocks. These are the 2 different sounds. Starting on track 1, that's the first. Track 1 starts at measure 1. And the sound on track 2 starts at measure 5. It's because we updated the value of 5 before we call the fit media function again. And then it's reading from top to bottom. And it can see that both sounds end at measure 20 because we did not update the value for 20, for end rather. We click the play button, and we can hear our track playing. In the interest of time, I'll just show you this. There it kicks on track 2. There you go.
And then students, just a reminder, you have to click that import to edit. If you do want to make any changes to those variables or to the sounds, just remember, import to edit.
There you go. In 1 minute or less, I'm going to show you the instructions. You can just go, now you're going to update the theme1 variable. So delete common love theme piano 3, and just to the click there, just to the right of the equal sign, next to theme1 equals. That's where you're going to place your new sound. Go back to that content manager button. That's where we're going to find our sounds. Go to that sound browser tab. find a sound you like. Do the same thing you did last time. In this case, I like AK underscore undug underscore piano underscore 3. I'm going to hit that blue button. And now my sound is assigned to the theme1 variable. So I've updated the variable for theme1 to be AK underscore or undug underscore piano underscore 3. All right. And then I click the run button, and now my sound's updated. You can hear the new mix with my sound that I added to my code. And it's going to sound like this. Hopefully this is, there you go. All right, so there we go. We used Fit Media to place multiple sounds on multiple tracks, change the value of variables, learn how memory works, how Python reads the code top to bottom, and checks the current value of each variable. We went super fast, I understand. I'm ran out of time, so you're gonna have to check the video or check us out. Go to breakbeatcode.com, and you can contact us on the contact form. And teachers, you can go directly to teach.breakbeatcode.com to see the free curriculum. And
So
I hand it to you.
very, very cool, Richard. That is phenomenal. And students, I feel like some of you probably are already creating amazing music. My music didn't sound nearly as good as yours, Richard, but I'll get there with some practice. Speaking of practice, we have 2 additional guests here who are going to tell you about how you can use these new skills to enter a contest where you can submit your music. So we have Michael and Christine are here. We're going to invite them in right now. Hello, Michael. And hello, Christine. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to turn it over to you guys. We've got about 7 minutes, but you have a really cool initiative and contest to tell these students about. So I'll let you guys take it away.
Thanks so much, Michelle and Richard, for that awesome walkthrough. My name is Michael, and I'm here with my colleague Christine, and we're here to chat with you a little bit about a program that we created called Your Voice is Power, based on EarSketch. And it's an opportunity where you and your classes anywhere in Canada can develop your own song and submit it to a contest and win some pretty cool prizes. So I'm going to let Christine talk more about the contest, but I think on the next slide, Michelle, we actually have a photo of, or maybe it got mixed up, but we have a photo somewhere of Miyuki and Bryce, who are our winners. But basically, there they are. There's Miyuki and Bryce. So last year, the program was created working with some amazing artists that Christine will share. And students from all across the country were able to create their own remixes in EarSketch, the way that you've been learning a bit today, and submit their songs for a chance to win a $5,000 scholarship and a really cool piece of art. And the focus of the contest, Your Voice is Power, is all about reflecting on Indigenous and Canadian histories. And so Taking It Global is a charity that I actually started as a high school student 22 years ago. And our vision, our focus has been working with students in schools all over the world to bring technology into the classroom in meaningful ways. So for this contest, we teamed up with Christine and Marika and some other educators to design what we think is a pretty cool opportunity for you to create your own music and submit it. And we'll be telling you more about that in an upcoming second part of this series. But I'll turn it over to Christine, who's based in Winnipeg, to share a little bit with you about the contest and the modules coming up.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And hi, everyone. So if you're enjoying your time so far, we can tell you a little bit more about the Your Voice is Power program that we developed, in which students will remix beats from Indigenous artists from around Canada and eventually submit your songs to win a contest, as Michael was talking about. So if we could go back to that Indigenous artist slides, I can talk a little bit more about some of the artists who we partnered with this year. And we partnered with 3 nationally recognized Indigenous artists. So students, you will see parts of songs in the EarSketch program from Dakota Bear, Jaylee Wolf, and Samion. And so while taking inspiration from social justice themes demonstrated in each of the songs, you can create your own remix that has a special meaning to you. So the first artist is Samion, and he's a French-speaking Indigenous hip-hop artist from a northern community in Quebec. Jaylee Wolf is an Anishinaabe and Cree artist. She's a singer-songwriter based out of Toronto. And then finally, we have Dakota Bear, and he's a Saskatoon-bred, Vancouver-based Indigenous hip-hop artist and activist. And so one of my favorite parts about our program is that you will get to hear directly from the artists themselves, and they will talk about their inspiration for pursuing a career in music and how they use their voice in for both activism and entrepreneurship. So a little bit more about the program is that this is something that you can do on your own. If maybe you're more of a self-directed learner, all of the modules are available on the website, yourvoicespower.ca. And so if this is something you're interested in, you're more than welcome to go ahead and go through the modules at your own pace. You'll learn about things like the history of hip-hop music in the United States. So who started hip-hop music? What were some of the social issues that were happening at the time related to social justice and racism and inequality that ultimately led to the creation of this new music genre? You'll also learn about things like interpersonal, institutional, and structural racism. You'll be analyzing songs from Indigenous artists and how they use their voice in a responsible way. You will learn how to add sound clips to your sketch, which I think you just were getting started into today. You'll be able to hear, like I said, from the Indigenous artists about what inspired them to create their music and what the connections are for them between activism and entrepreneurship. You're going to learn a little bit more detail about how to create a sound bank and layering your variables and functions in your song. In Module 5, you're going to learn about hip-hop history in Canada. So when did hip-hop come to Canada, and who are the major players at the beginning of that, and sort of where are we at today? You're also going to learn the concepts of decolonization and indigenization. And so you'll analyze songs using the 4R framework, which was a framework developed by Indigenous educators Verna J. Kirkness and Ray Barnhart. So you're going to also hear many different examples of Indigenous music, songs, instruments, and musicians. In Module 6, you'll explore Indigenous role models while continuing to develop your coding skills, and so that you can code your final song for the competition. In Module 7, you'll learn a little bit about the 94 calls to action put forth by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. And it's our hope that you choose one call to action that is meaningful and impactful to you. And that is something that you can raise awareness about through your music. And finally, in Module 8, this is where you will start to implement your ideas into your song in order to promote equity and the 94 calls to action. So this could take you, a couple hours. It could take you 8 hours. You could spend a few days or even weeks working on your song. And that's really one of the benefits of the program, is that you can do it at your own pace. Teachers are also invited to implement this curriculum with their classes. And again, doing it at whatever pace makes sense for you or your students. So we do have 2 winners from this year who worked really, really hard on their songs. And did we want to play one or more of the songs for everyone?
Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Okay.
However, am I right that all of this is on your website? All of those modules are there? That is phenomenal. So the website, again, I'll just put it up there, teachers, yourvoicespower.ca. But you guys are coming back. You're going to be back on October 12th. And so I feel like let's keep the students wondering, and maybe they'll research themselves, or hopefully your teacher and you will come back on October 12th and we'll be able to do a full hour exploring this contest and these modules and this fantastic initiative. So
thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you guys. Perfect. So thank you all for being here, teachers, students. Richard, thank you so much as well. And then yes, Michael and Christine, thanks for giving us a little sneak peek at what's coming up later this month. So with that, we will say goodbye to all of you students and teachers until we see you again. Take care.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.